Right, there's been more wheeler dealing in the transfer market, and I've now got us to the point where our bench looks pretty much as strong as last year's first team did. I feel back to back coming on, but we're not talking about it yet. Hello and welcome to part 28 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have two matches in the Conference North at home against both Solihull and Darlington. Since you were last with me, we've played all the cup games. I mean, a ridiculous amount of cup games. We've played 8 games so far in October and only 2 of them have been in the league. The amount of cups, I mean, it doesn't help that we've gone to replays in the FA Cup twice. We're still in both the FA Cup and the FA Trophy. Not that I'm complaining about still being in cup competitions, but I am looking forward to the days when we're in a high enough division where we don't have to play all these qualifying rounds for the FA Cup and play the FA Trophy, because a month like October, that's just been a total write-off. And once again, it's been a story that we've had quite a lot recently, or most seasons that home have existed. We've had a really strong October, looked really good, but most of that form hasn't translated over into the league because it's all been wasted on cup competition. So this is where we stand in the league, having played a lot of games this season, over 20 games this season it feels like, but we've only had actually 13 games in the league. But we find ourselves 4th place, just 2 points behind top of the table Nuneaton. Wrexham do have 2 points in hand on Nuneaton though, but only 1 game in hand on us, and we feel very much in a promotion race. There's probably 4 or 5 teams in that promotion race. Solihull, who we play today, are probably one of those teams. Darlington I would have expected to be, but in fact they're knocking around down in a relegation battle. And I mentioned there's been some transfers too. I'm not going to go through loads of them, but you can see since we signed Levi Potton in the last episode, which hasn't been the most successful signing in the world, it's got to be said. He's had a couple of injuries, 7 appearances off the bench, no goals. He's not the player we thought he was 4 seasons ago before we let him go. But we brought in a few other free transfers as well. The notable one, I guess, is Oscar Vaughan, who is a centre-back who's coming on loan from Bury. And I feel like this lad might be the missing piece of the jigsaw, and we now do have a very, very strong-looking team. Plus, we've got options to play a different kind of system if we want to as well. We've got a very good attacking midfielder who last season was playing in League 2. He's done a full season in League 1. And he can't even get on our bench because we're not playing a system that fits him. But we've got a couple of players now who've been interested, who have been playing league football. So it shows what a difference the form we've been in recent years has made to our reputation. And we can now attract that kind of player. So this is the team that we're putting out there for the first of our 2 games today. And as you can see, we have one of our own youngsters in there as well. Despite all these signings and all these players coming in, one of the revelations of the season so far has been Lerick Fernandez. He's only 17. He came through our youth team. He spent a little bit of time on loan at Droylsden. But he played a league game and was absolutely outstanding. Played, scored, got a 9. He's been decent in the cups as well. This guy is already roughly at a level with Buckley and Pozo and Hornshaw, just below Josh Benson on the star ratings dearly, but has 5-star potential, and he's only 17. So we're trying to give this guy as much football as we can without sacrificing the rest of the team to be able to do it. But he's absolutely going to be playing today, and if he becomes a regular in the team, I will be a very happy chap. So we've got Mayle in goal, a back 4 of Critchlow, Noble, Vaughan, Colley and Diallo, with Pozo as our defensive midfielder, Fernandez and Hornshaw ahead of him. And then a front 3 of Clark, Powell and Stanley. That's pretty much our settled front 3 now. Clark as an inside forward just offers us something different to what Cottrell was offering us on that left-hand side. It is a little bit harsh on Cottrell, but then on the flip side of that, if we look at Cottrell's form this season, he's only doing a 6.89, so I think that justifies making the switch. Cottrell's young enough to make a comeback there as well. He's still only 19, got potential to get much better than he already is, plus the ability to play in many, many positions. So I don't think it's the last we've seen of Ben Cottrell, but for the time being, Clark is taking his place on that left-hand side. Mick Powell is doing all right for goals as well this season. 7 in 13 in the league, 4 in 7 in the Cups, means he's on 11 from 20 for the season so far. It's not spectacular, but it's not the big worry we had that led to us bringing Levi Potton in the first place, which is just as well, because Potton, like we said before, hasn't exactly been the player we were expecting to be bringing in. I was expecting to be bringing in a superstar, and we've actually brought in a 31-year-old who's possibly a little bit past it, which is probably why Aldershot let him leave in the first place. So let's passionately say, I expect you to keep this run going. We've motivated Ika Pozo doing that. So as long as he's motivated, that's fine. Because a motivated Pozo might just stick a free kick in the top corner. But the one we're really keeping an eye on today, number 7, Lerick Fernandez. He's one of our own. And it excites me when we have one of our own players in the team. And if we can have him establish himself as a first teamer, I'll be absolutely delighted, because it will be the first youth player we've brought through to play regularly in the team since Mick Powell. And that would be awesome. Big ball over the top for Powell to chase. He's got a man to beat and the keeper, and plays it straight at the keeper really, but he's won a corner, as it said on the commentary at the bottom. Should have done a little bit better, but it's Pozo to take the corner, floats it across. It's too far for Colley, but he does collect and then gets fouled. Why couldn't he have drawn that foul just inside the penalty area? We have another Pozo corner. It's pretty much the same corner. This time falls to Fernandez. Stanley on the edge of the area, and it goes just wide from Stanley. We've created a few chances early on. We've had 70% of the possession in the first half hour of this match against a team one place below us in the league. We really should have scored a goal during that spell of dominance. That's a little bit of a worry, that we've kept the ball so well but not done a huge amount with it. And now Solihull with a chance to come at us. Pozo has been sent off. And that seems like that. I mean, that's taken the sting out of it all a little bit, hasn't it? Well, I don't really know what to do here. Can Fernandez play a more defensive role? Not really. Can Hornshaw play a more defensive role? Not really. So we're just going to leave him like that. What's the worst that could happen? Right. Florent Cavalier used to play for Posh, only on loan very briefly, but he's a player with plenty of Football League experience. I don't really know why he's playing down for Solihull, but I guess we already showed an example earlier in the episode of us doing the exact same thing. So I guess sometimes players just drift down the leagues. Right, I think we have got to say that we have been unlucky, because we should be ahead. We've dominated the game. We should be ahead, but we are now down to 10 men, and we probably won't be devastated if it ends with a draw. But we've done so well and controlled the game so well that you've got to still back us to win the game. If we can find a goal from somewhere, we have got attacking options on the bench. We've got Potton, we've got Cottrell. So if we're not creating stuff, by the end of this highlight, really, I think I'm going to look to make probably a double change, get Cottrell and Potton onto the pitch. And it sounds like the bin men are celebrating by coming past my house. I don't know if you can hear that. It's all I can hear. Powell is in, hits the post, and it ends up in the back of the net. And it's very fortuitous. It hasn't gone down as a Powell goal, which is a little bit harsh. But we have gone 1-0 up in the highlight where I was threatening to make some changes. And Powell did really well there, actually. Stanley plays it to Powell. Powell absolutely thwacks it. Bounces back off the post into the back of the goalkeeper. It's your classic Football Manager goal. We've all seen that happen far more often in FM than it's ever happened in real life. And now Solihull have a free kick, and it just ends in the hands of Mail, who just needs to slow things down a little bit. Let's build up from the back again. That's not what we needed. Although he spotted Powell in a little bit of space, and Mick Powell, another very strong shot, and it goes over. And we've got the opportunity to grab a second here. It's Stanley with the corner, floats it to that far post, again aiming at Colley, who is our big threat from these corners. We have actually signed a 6'8" defender, but he's a youngster. One for the future, but we do have a 6'8" defender at the club now if we ever need to get into the into what I'll describe as forest green football, for those of you who've been watching Non-League to Legend as well. Clark now plays it inside to Fernandez. Fernandez has been a little bit quiet today. Critchlow Noble to Clark. Back to where Pozo should have been. Does Clark not remember the red card? I don't know what he's thinking there. And he's put us under quite a bit of pressure. Critchlow Noble heads clear, but only as far as a Solihull shirt. And now they're building again. Ball over the top. Diallo again heads it only as far as the Solihull player. Mail makes a cracking save, but isn't there for the follow-up. And that all comes back to Clark. I mean, what is he thinking? He's playing it back to where Pozo would have been if he was still on the pitch. It's like he genuinely didn't remember he was sent off. And from that moment on, we were under pressure the whole time. Mail made a fantastic save. But you've got to say, Critchlow Noble probably should have helped him out a little bit and cleared it off the back of the save. Right, we're going to make some changes. Probably the ones we talked about. Potton is coming on for Powell. And we're going to bring Cottrell on for Clark. And I'm tempted to bring John Buckley on in midfield as well for Fernandez. And make those 3 changes. Triple substitution with 20 minutes to go. And let's demand more. I know we're down to 10 men, but we've absolutely dominated this game. And we've got to find a winner, surely. Eee! Oh, that's not Adam Levers, is it? Oh, it was offside. We released him in the summer and thought we'd never hear from him again. Luckily, it's been disallowed for offside. But Mail, again, decent save, but palms it out into the path of an opposing player. Hopefully that's not a theme with Mail. I don't want one of these keepers who's a great shot stopper but has no awareness of what's going on around him. Although I guess in non-league, that's all you can really expect. If he could do everything, he wouldn't be playing in the Conference North. Buckley to Diallo. Diallo plays it back into Buckley again. Buckley runs past his man, plays it out to Critchlow Noble. We have players in the middle. It's Levi Potton, and it's just wide. That could have been Potton's first ever goal for home 4 years after we first discovered him, knocking around in our youth team at age 28. Potton's in, and it's wide again. Oh, Potton has had some chances, but we've got to ask, would Mick Powell have scored them? Because Potton, I don't know, I am a little bit worried that it might be nostalgia and romance that's making me persist with Levi Potton as our backup. Should we be looking for a better striker for this level to really offer some competition for places with Mick Powell? We actually turned down the opportunity to sign one like 2 games ago. It was a advanced forward, I forget his name, who, but star rating wise, was better than Mick Powell, but he wanted £700 a week, which we could theoretically afford, but it seemed mad to bring a player in for £700 a week as a key player to play in Mick Powell's position because he's Mick Powell. But I'm now looking at that, seeing Powell fluff his lines repeatedly, Potton come on and do the same. Do we need a real top quality third striker to really put some pressure on these two and get them to buck their ideas up? And if we do, how many more times do we do that? Because that's why we brought Potton in. Right, this is the guy that I was just talking about, Freddie Hines. He's 22. My scouts rate him as an 80, and he would be a quality signing. Those of you who like attributes, there's his attributes. The key thing is he's quick and decent finisher. But this is the interesting thing for me. Star rating wise, he might be better than Mick Powell. And that's the thing that is always difficult, because he could be worse than both of them. Who on earth is Joe Hardy? Have we signed another striker and I've forgotten about him? Did I do this over the weekend? Well, we've already got one. We've only already got one. Right, forget that. We don't need Freddie Hines. We signed Joe Hardy, apparently, and I didn't remember doing it. I've got to stop signing so many players. Sorry, Freddie, but he's the one who wanted £700 a week. Why did I remember him, but not the one we actually signed? When did we sign Joe Hardy? Like 2 weeks ago in game, and I do not remember him. Right, you might be seeing Joe Hardy in the next match. I know I just said I need to stop signing so many players, but I really have to now, because we're just about maxed out on our wage budget at this point. We have brought in Martin Smith, though, who's a 26-year-old central midfielder who we're paying good money to. 3.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability, but he's another one who's been playing regularly in League One and League Two, and how could I not sign that player who's played those games for those teams, and he's no better than what we already had. But my scouts reckoned he was. In fact, on here, that says 3.5. Where's my half a star? But, I mean, Martin Smith, boys and girls, we might see him too, although he's probably not going to be fixed. He's been without a club since the summer. Where's fitness on here? I don't even know where you see it on this screen. There. He's fit, but not match fit. We'll see. We will see. Right, I've made some changes, but not the changes that I said I was going to make, because I can't bring myself to either drop Mick Powell or not give Levi Potton one more go. I desperately want him to get his first goal for us on camera, so I'll probably experiment with not using him in the next match when you lot aren't watching. I'm just desperate for him to come off the bench and score a goal. But I am mixing things up in other areas. So Greaves comes in at the back with Colley dropping down to the bench. I've also brought Phillips in for the suspended Pozo. Benson comes back into the midfield to play alongside Hornshaw. Lerick Fernandez dropped out completely. Cottrell comes in for Stanley. I'm going to try 2 inside forwards, see how that works. Obviously last season at our height we had 2 wingers, but I wonder if 2 inside forwards really getting in there and playing alongside Powell with the fullbacks pushing on might actually be a little bit more effective. Almost makes a front 3 with the fullbacks giving us our width. Maybe. Martin Smith, the new guy, is on the bench along with Stanley and Potton and Buckley and Colley. I mean, that is a strong, strong bench. Like I said in the intro to today's video, properly strong bench and a whole load of players who can come on and change the game if the game needs changing. The problem is, have I got the managerial nous to combine them into a system that actually works? Was that Jordan Nicholson playing for Darlington? Because that is where he went in real life, I think, along with most of the Nuneaton lot from last season. So I think we're going to be up against Jordan Nicholson. Right. I do expect to win, but that was very ineffective. So I think that's Jordan Nicholson there. Tom Elliott, as we've seen in the last episode, isn't available, but there is Nicholson. Is there any more of our Nuneaton legends in this team? Mitchell Glover's there on the bench as well. So there's a couple of names that we recognise. Mitchell Glover's just seen me and shuddered because I ruined his career in another universe. But Jordan Nicholson, I would like to think, in my world, wouldn't still be playing in Conference North at this point. We'd helped him perform to such a level that he'd secured a move to the Football League by now, back in the Borough last year. While we're discussing former players from a different series, with the whole first half has just drifted by without a highlight. We've dominated possession and done nothing with it again. This is becoming a familiar tale. Right, should we try aggression? No, because it's not that I'm far from pleased. Dig in, you deserve to win the match. No effect again. So, perhaps we try a 4-2-3-1. We've got a lot of good central midfielders now. Pozo can play central midfield. Is Shane Phillips the weak link in this team? Maybe. Powell might be too. Perhaps what Powell needs is a player in behind him. Hornshaw just heads over. But can any of the... I'm talking about doing it. I don't know if I've got anyone on the bench today who can slot into that attacking midfielder position. We've obviously got that lad who we looked at earlier in the episode who could do it, theoretically. Looks like Cottrell can do it. Levi Potton can do it. Is he any good at it? No. Right, we are training it. We've been training it for as long as we've been doing this system. So let's shuffle everyone around a little bit. Phillips is going to come off and we're going to play Levi Potton in there. But we're going to tell him to be a shadow striker. Powell can still be... You know what? Powell can try being an advanced forward rather than a poacher for once. Cottrell needs to be an inside forward over there. In midfield, we're going to bring on Martin Smith, the new boy. What do you want to be, Martin? You're a deep line playmaker. That's exactly what I was after. And Benson, you can be box to box. And that looks good. Looks like a good lineup. We've still got Stanley and Buckley to come on if we need them, if this doesn't work. Let's see if switching things up a little bit and playing a little bit more positively. Mick Powell's been fouled there. We've won a penalty. Huzzah! Who's taking it? It's, of course, the man himself, Mick Powell. Can he do a Mick Powell to put us ahead in this match? What is that goalkeeper wearing? I mean, no. That's a terrible goalkeeper's kit. Plus, he can't wear the same colour shorts as the rest of the team, can he? Or is that what they do? I thought he had to be completely different from the rest of the team. It looks like he's just turned up in the same kit as everybody else and been given the short straw and been made to play in his vest. Right, Cottrell. What, you don't own a pink vest? You haven't lived. Greaves to Vaughan. To Greaves. To Vaughan. Back to Mail. I mean, that was real possession football there. Cottrell playing as the inside forward over on the right hand side. Potton plays it to Clark and he's looking for the ball back again. It goes to Benson though. Benson to Smith. Smith over to Cottrell. Cottrell has Diallo on the overlap. Can Diallo get the cross in? He does. Finds Powell. Powell forces the save. Cuts it back to Levi Potton. There we go. We've finally had our first goal for Levi Potton, and it was served up on a beautiful plate for him by Mick Powell, the man who got his chance purely because Potton wasn't here. And there we go. I can stop playing him now. Levi Potton, we always said he would be our superstar back in episode 1. He has now finally scored a goal for us. We can now never see him again, quite happily, knowing that Levi Potton has a goal for home. Right, Smith to Greaves. We're just knocking the ball around nicely again. Big ball over the top for Powell to chase. Powell scores. I wonder if maybe we make him an advance forward all the time. Perhaps being a poacher isn't what we want. Perhaps we want an advance forward in our other system, because we're going to have Pozo back for the next game. So I can't imagine we're going to stick with this 4-2-3-1, although it has been pretty effective as we've got used to it. But our next match is also against Darlington in the Cup, so it's going to be a good way to compare the two systems. If we play the 4-3-3 with Powell as an advanced forward. That might be the only change we need to make to suddenly make Mick Powell more effective. Powell is fouled there, but apparently not. The one advantage of doing this, I guess, is that we can try the guy we've just brought in who can play as an attacking midfielder. But then it takes Potton out of the team again, and who wants that? Ball over the top for Clark to chase. Clark is chasing, and we're putting Darlington under some serious pressure now. We're looking very good with this tactical change. Would I be mad to go back to the 4-3-3 for the next game? Oh, look at that from Jordan Nicholson. What a goal. An assist from Mitchell Glover, goal from Jordan Nicholson. I don't even begrudge him doing it because he was such an important part of back in the Borough last year, and Glover wasn't. But Nicholson, what a finish. Yeah, we don't need to see it again, though. Let's not dwell on it. Right, who are we going to make for our final change? We've got Buckley and Stanley both on the bench. I think we're going to bring on Connor Stanley for Ben Cottrell, and we're going to just stick him on there as a winger, play in his normal game, see if we can... Maybe the little shot in the arm he needed to get him out there back to his best, and maybe grab us another couple of goals. That would be nice, because Stanley's another one who's similar to Powell, should be good enough to play at this level comfortably, but hasn't really shown his best form yet this season. Clark to Smith. Smith's looked solid and just sort of playing in that nice defensive role in a midfield too. So we've got a man who can do that now, which is a big bonus. If we decide to do this, we obviously won't do it very often in the 4-3-3, but in this system, Smith works. Powell, and it's just flails miles wide. He's no better as an advanced forward, is he? He's just forever going to be a frustration who we always play because he scores so many goals, but we never actually see him play well. Yeah, at least we've got two systems that we know work now. That's something that I haven't had in Football Manager for a long, long time. We've got two systems, both of which work, and players to fit both of them. We could actually start playing specific to the opposition that we're up against. This is madness. Bit of a let-off. No, I am happy. Well done, gentlemen, and more of that in future, please. Right, let's have a look to see when we're going to be back for tomorrow's video. Obviously, we'll be back at 7 o'clock tomorrow, but let's see what matches we're going to be playing when we do it. I don't want to show you any cup games yet. Cup games are more interesting when they become interesting. So I think we'll probably just... It'll be somewhere around here. Bury, Kettering. We might do the Christmas fixtures, Kettering and Warrington, and see where we are in the league at that point. I'm wary of not showing you too many league games if we're going to run away with the league. It's not looking like that's going to happen at the moment. Wrexham still look relatively comfortable, but Mick Powell's the top... I've just been dissing Mick Powell, and he's the top scorer in the division. Perhaps I need to be a little bit nicer to Mick Powell. It's going to be my New Year's resolution that I'm doing on the 14th of January. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.